What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at Wolfgang, Amadeus, Mozart. So Mozart, like, I don't know how they decide what characters they put in this game, but we have Mozart and we're gonna have William Shakespeare as well. Like, I don't know how they qualify as heroic spirits, but I guess they are legends in their own right, so they do, I guess, deserve a spot in the game, although he is a 1-star. He does have some pretty cool artwork. I really like the whole conduction of the angels or whatever he's doing in that picture. I don't know exactly what they are, but it looks pretty cool. The character looks a little creepy though, but the artwork looks pretty cool. Anyway, he is a caster, so he will be effective against assassins and weak to riders. And like I said, he is a 1-star as well, so he will go up to level 60, and he will have attack and 7. Solid for an arts team and almost exclusively for an arts team, but he is very good for arts teams. So let's go ahead and talk about his skills here. His first skill is going to be called Protection of the Muse, Fake EX, and this will increase art card effectiveness of all allies for 1 turn. And this is really nice because the boost is insane and it's not a single target skill, and most AoE skills are actually really weak as far as the stats go because they affect the entire team, but this one is really good and it's an AoE effect. So level 1 is a 22% increase and goes all the way up to 44% at level 10, and most skills they cap at 20%. Now I know generally it's because they last 3 turns as opposed to 1 turn, so this is going to be a short burst, but if you're doing this like right before you go into like a big attack or something like that, this will make you do so much more damage, and it's really nice. And for the skill alone, you basically just want to use this character and level it up. Moving on here to his second skill, it's going to be Aesthetic Appreciation B, which will decrease Noble Phantasm's strength of his servant enemy for 1 turn. So this is pretty cool. You know, when that Noble Phantasm's ready on the enemy, you can go ahead and use this and decrease the strength of that so it deals a little bit less damage to you. It starts at 9% at level 1, goes up to 18% at level 10. It's not a huge decrease in Noble Phantasm strength, but you know, sometimes that little bit is enough to keep you alive and keep you going, and it's always nice. It's always nice to have something like this. And you know, he is kind of like a supporter character where he debuffs the enemy, so it does combo really well with some of his other, well, I guess his Noble Phantasm is the only other thing that it works on, but it does combo well with that. And then his third and final skill is going to be a Little Night Music EX, which will gain critical stars. 20 stars at level 1, goes up to 50 at level 10, which is a ridiculous amount. I mean, I know arts cards aren't primarily centered around crit, but having 50 crit stars is going to make you do more damage, like a significant amount of damage, so it's really nice. Unfortunately though, it is a strengthening power-up quest, so we currently do not have access to it at the moment. It is also a self-buff, which does kind of suck because you can't combo it with some of the other things that you can normally combo it with, but I guess you're getting the stars, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, it's not really bad. It's a good skill, really good skill. It's not like it's a gain or anything like that. You're just physically getting the stars. So I guess even though it's a self-buff, you can still use it on other allies because it doesn't really matter as long as you get the stars. But yeah, that's a lot of stars. It is a lot of stars. Moving on here to his class skill, it's going to be called Territory Creation B, which increases art card effectiveness by 8%. So again, you're going to have a little bit more damage on your art card effectiveness. And you know, if you're throwing them on an arts team, they're all going to benefit from that. So you want to definitely make use of that in an arts team. Moving on here to his Ascension Materials, he does need quite a bit for his 3rd and his 4th Ascensions, needing the Gears and the Forbidden Pages as well as the Hearts. But if you have nothing else to level up, you might want to consider leveling this guy up, because he's not really amazing. He does have his uses in arts teams, so I wouldn't like go out of my way to level this character up, but certainly if you don't have anyone else to really work on and you have good arts characters, definitely recommend trying to at least consider leveling up this character. Moving on here to his skill enhancement materials, and unfortunately this guy does need quite a lot, so you're not going to be able to just go in and max out his first skill. Just like that, you do need gears, feathers, and hearts to max out his skills. So unfortunately it's going to be a bit of a grind to max out his skills, but once you do get there, they do have some pretty good rewards and payoff for it. So moving on here to his craft essence, it's going to unlock the Hayden Quartets, and this will increase Noble Phantasm strength of all allies by 20% while on the field, which is pretty solid. It's a nice Noble Phantasm strength gain, but you probably want to steer in a different direction for your craft essences. But if you are going to rely heavily on your Noble Phantasms, which definitely you might want to do because it is an art setup, so you're going to be using more Noble Phantasms, you can definitely consider using this one. So moving on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm, he has 1 quick, 3 arts, and 1 buster, pretty much what you'd expect considering he is heavily geared towards an art setup. It's exactly what you want to use him on. And his Noble Phantasm is also arts, which has a chance to apply the following 2 debuffs below. So you can either have decrease attack and defense for 3 turns on the overcharge. It does affect all enemies, and it's a pretty solid decrease. 60% at level 1 and goes up to 80% at level 5 for the attack, I believe. No, I'm sorry. That's the chance you have of applying the debuffs. And then it's a 20% chance at level 1 and a 40% decrease at level 5 for the actual buff. So it'll be a 40% attack decrease and a 40% defense decrease for 3 turns at level 5. And then the final part is it's going to inflict curse for 3 turns as well. So 500 damage for curse at level 1 and then 2500 damage for curse at level 5. He is a 1-star, so he should be very easy to get to level 5. It's a really solid Noble Phantasm. You can definitely combo it with some other characters and just do some pretty heavy curse damage because, like I said, he's a 1-star. You're going to get plenty of copies of this guy. You'll max him out in no time. And 2500 damage every turn for 3 turns. It's really nice. So now for some of the craft essences you can use on this guy. I really don't recommend Kaleidoscope that much because you don't need it. He's going to be using an arts team. You're going to get your Noble Phantasm ready super fast. Even if you need to overcharge it, you're going to it's going to happen by the time you get to the boss. No questions asked. And his skill's not really something you want to use that often unless you really have to on earlier waves. You want to save it for the boss. So by that time you'll have your Noble Phantasm ready, and Kaleidoscope doesn't really help that much, so I don't really recommend it. But some of the other ones you can use are the primary arts craft essences like Projection for the 15% increase, or Formal Craft for the 25% increase, or you could use his own craft essence if, like I said before, if you are planning on recycling Noble Phantasms and doing like AoE or big hit damage, just to have that increased strength. And you know, if you're planning on using Noble Phantasms a lot, then it's better than using the quick card craft essences because you're obviously using your Noble Phantasms more, so you're going to be doing more damage from that as opposed to just using regular attacks, in which case you would want to use your like Formal Craft or Projection craft essences. Anyway guys, that's going to wrap up the video here. I will leave you guys with his Noble Phantasm, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
魔の響きをレクイエム4